This is the Sundarbans, a region that appears in headlines during cyclones and disappears when development is discussed. In Hingalganj, West Bengal, children grow up surrounded by water, uncertainty, and isolation. They cross rivers to survive. They fight nature every year. But here is something they should not have to fight for. There is no government English medium school here, not even one. In a state that promises progress, in a country where education is called a fundamental right, and a year when elections are approaching and speeches about development are growing louder, these children are still waiting. Waiting to learn the language that decides who gets ahead and who is left behind. Waiting for access that children in cities take for granted. Waiting for a system that has not arrived. When opportunity depends on your PIN code, equality becomes a slogan. And when the state does not reach the margins, someone else has to. A woman from Kolkata stepped into this vacuum. Not because it was her responsibility, but because it was no one else's priority. She built a school. The question is not why she came here. The question is why she had to.
Today with us we have Shotarupa ma'am. What Shotarupa has done is beautiful. She has created this institution named as Swapnapuran Shiksha Niketan at Hingalganj, Sundarban. And the beauty of this institution is going to be narrated today between our conversation. Shotarupa, you need to tell us your story. How did you begin? What did you see in Hingalganj? Of all the places from Kolkata, there were so many small places, you could have gone anywhere. Why did you choose Hingalganj itself? And when you came, what was here, and today what you have built?
So when I first visited, in my first visit, I realized that there were no space for early childhood education here. And children would not go to school till they were 7 or 8 or 9 years age. And by 14 years, they would drop out because they had not been able to create any connection with books. We are the only English medium school for marginalized children across Sundarbans. There aren't any other English medium school across Sundarbans which is giving education or propagating, delivering education for the marginalized children. Number one. And number two, these children are coming from background where their parents or families are, going to collect honey from the forest, woodcutters or laborers and fishermen, and they have boats, they go into the forest. So they come from a background where, it's an absolute delight and a pleasure that when these children, they come to our school, and some of the children, they cross the river every day and they come and attend the school. We have teachers who cross the river every day and they are going to the other branches and teaching. So in a nutshell, it's an absolute unique and a phenomenal experience. When I started the journey, the whole concept was playway method of teaching, that children should have a place, a space where they would learn through playway, and they would have a pure learning. So having these early childhood education centers was my first priority. That was what I wanted to establish.
Okay. So the gap that you wanted to fill was
education, but then slowly we moved on to child protection, community building, mothers, empowering mothers, so that the community as a whole can develop. I did not choose Hingalganj, but Hingalganj chose me. So I used to visit several places and spend time with children, donating books. I would celebrate my daughter's birthday in some of the places where the children, I think, that require support, care. And that is how I happened to reach the islands and to donate a sewing machine of my grandmother. That is how my journey first came here, and it was that time there was no bridge over Hashnabad and Dasha river. I had to cross the river in the boat and had to come. And then I met the community. So when the community came to know that I was a teacher by profession, they wanted me that to come at times, teach the children, because early childhood education, where my expertise is and something that I love, is completely not there at that time. Although there are Anganwadis, but as we know that it is not well facilitated and the infrastructure is not child friendly. So then I thought of why not a child preschool for children. So it was a small learning center for children with which we started in 2012. I was in a full-time job. So my whole idea was that the local people will take it forward. I will groom them, I will appoint local teachers, and they will take it forward. But it was in 2015-16 that I realized that children are brilliant. The local resources were not so well trained, but the children were very capable.
In 2019, we shifted here. I mean, in our present location. So, on the time, there were only 4 or 5 teachers, or barely 100 students we have had. And then, for last 8 years, there was no infrastructure, proper infrastructure. We had only 4 huts for sitting for the students and as classroom. Now we are having more than 16 rooms, a dedicated computer lab, dedicated STEM lab, composite lab and library also, with the staff room and nursery to class 10 students we are having. And this year some of our students they are appearing for the board exam, class and board exams. So this transformation happened for last 8 years.
Two major challenges that you face on a daily basis is one is electricity, and the second one is transportation in the evening, and especially when you are a woman traveling. So what do you think the government should do here?
If I talk about electricity, those are what I told you, but there are also lots of challenges that people here face, and government should first make the locality or the public aware of their own initiatives, because there are lots of programs that people here don't know about that government provides, but people don't know about that. So that can be one thing. And taking feedbacks from public. I know it is not possible on a daily basis or what, because as we go for the home visit for new admissions as well, and for taking feedbacks from the parents of our existing children, that time we get to know the actual struggle they are facing. We are as teacher who all are staying here, school is providing food and everything, we are doing good. It is not a problem. A normal person can easily survive or happily survive with that. But actual challenge is the people who stay here, they faced. And there's no availability of transportation also. And for that, I think the place is not safe. That's why people don't feel like going out after 7 p.m. or 8 p.m.
There are huge logistic challenges, but honestly speaking, our school teachers are doing a wonderful job, that they are always, they cross the river. Even the children today that they have come and they cross the river and they come to the main school, they cross the river and they go to the other branches. So since we are probably in Sundarbans and on the islands, it is really not very, it has become a part of our life. We don't feel that it to be a challenge. And somewhere we probably enjoy this river. Yes. This is our school ground. Mm-hmm. This ground is for the children. And this is a children's play area. And this is another children's play area at the back. This is the school garden, and we have a basketball field, which is of the state of the infrastructure field that we have. I'll show you our kitchen and our dining space where the children, they have their lunch and their breakfast. Currently, we are providing breakfast and lunch to over 600 students. And also we have our teachers who are here. In the main school, we have 24 plus teachers and utility staff, about 10 of them. And we have school cars, carpools. So the school drivers, of course, about 9 to 11 of them are the school drivers. So these school drivers, we provide lunch to them. And so this is the infrastructure that we have. And we have residential teachers, about 25 of them are residential teachers. And we provide them breakfast, lunch and dinner every day.
Just like another human being, dealing with so many things. The thing of like, I want to give up.
Not really, because these children are too motivating and they give you all the energy and recharge every morning. If someday you feel tired, you feel overwhelmed, and you feel, how am I going to get in so much of funds? So it's just the night, and the next morning you're again on your toes, and you feel, yes, I have to do it. I have to do it for the children. So there is never a scope of giving up, and I don't believe in giving up.
Tell me the story of your favorite kid, student.
Yes, so there are many of them actually speaking. But yes, one particular I would like to say is that this child has joined us. He comes from a family where the mother is a bidi worker. The father has ailment, and it's a perennial ailment that he has a lungs issue, and that is why he's not being able to work for years. It is the mother who runs the family, and by binding bidis, because bidi making is one of the very prominent occupation in this area. So this child had joined our school when he was barely 3 years old, I remember, coming to the play school that we had, and today he is in the 9th grade, and he is one who can speak English and can narrate, recite poems and narrate stories so well in English, which gives you a feeling of satisfaction that amidst a lot of challenges, you still have been able to contribute or touch lives of these children. And I'm sure they will make some big thing in their life. So in 2018, I took up this bold decision of giving up my profession, because I realized that I could not do both the things at the same time. And so after I gave up my profession, all the amusements which I got, I took up a land, 2 acres of land, where we are sitting today. And my whole idea was that if I don't have a land, nobody would come forward to support me with a school building. Not realizing that it is one of the toughest things to do, I just dived deep into this with a conviction and with a 100% love and dedication. That was the only tools I had, because I don't come from a background of a social sector. I did not know how the social sector works, what are the jargons, not even how to write a proposal. And I would just wonder whether I will be ever able to write it also. That is how it all began in, again, 2018. Then in 2019, I got this land registered. And 2020, end of 2019, we started the construction of this building. And of course, we all know that pandemic struck in 2020. So that was also an experience for us. When COVID struck, we realized that we did a quick survey of parents and saw that about 60% of the fathers, they have an Android phone. And the 40% who did not have any gadgets or any devices, so the teachers would go around, distributing ration. When they did distribute ration, they would also go and explain and guide the mothers to guide the children at home. While the world was shut down and there was a very gleam picture of the entire world suffering, we saw a very different picture. That is, here the fathers were at home and they were assisting and spending more time with their children, helping them in the homework, helping them to do activities at home, and they would share those pictures with us. It was the most heartening part of the whole journey. And then that was the year when it was also the Amphan had struck, which had devastated several villages in Sundarban. And then the local administration came and approached us that, ma'am, we would like you to distribute cooked meals This was not at all something that we knew that we would be able to do because we have no experience in doing that. We had a very, very small team of 12 people only at that time. But they all turned into social workers and the community workers, and they were serving the community in all the possible way, distributing dry ration, distributing water. And we took up this, and when we took this up, we were actually cooking 5,000 meals every day and distributing across the islands. After this, it gave a huge, tremendous impetus and confidence to us that yes, we are capable of making a lot of impossible into possible.
How long have you been teaching?
It's been 4 years this year that I'm teaching in Shwapnapuran. I'm with Shwapnapuran.
4 years. So how does it feel to be a part of Shwapnapuran?
Firstly, when I joined Shwapnapuran, it was not this huge infrastructure or this huge program. It was only one ground floor was there, only four. We have started with nothing. We have started with nothing. And when I joined, there was only 4 rooms. There were only 4 rooms in the ground floor. And now you can see the infrastructure, the playgrounds, all the facilities that Shwapnapuran is providing. And this is one part. And working or providing the quality education to the children of Sundarbans, who are the first generation learners. So it is really, for me, it is I think I'm doing my best, and this is the best I can do for someone or the children of Sundarbans.
When the world was, all were falling apart, we were here putting all the jigsaw puzzles together and supporting the community. About 200 families were on the river bank, and we supported them with food for 21 days, cooked meals,
21 days.
tarpaulins. We distributed over 900 tarpaulins, and we also distributed solar lamps because these families had no electricity for 6 months.
6 months.
So, and we started supporting the village because most of the children appearing for Madhyamik and HS, their books had washed away. They did not have books with them. So we got the books, we distributed the books, and we started coaching these children. Because of COVID, they were not going to school also. We've emphasized a lot on girl-child education.
Correct.
Women empowerment is extremely important and relevant today in Sundarbans because 60 to 65% of the fathers have migrated from Sundarbans. They have all gone to the areas like Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Bangalore. Fathers are settling over there. Many a times they don't even come back. So empowering mothers is an extreme important and essential need of the hour. And I personally feel an empowered mother will always have an empowered child.
Tell us, what is this?
And this is an instant drawing robot.
Instant drawing robot.
Yes, ma'am.
Who made this robot?
We three.
All the 3 of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you demonstrate?
Yes, ma'am. First, we attaching this pen to this and keeping it. Then
Devangana, what do you want to become?
Ma'am, I want to become a Navy officer.
IPS officer,
Air fighter.
আপনার ছেলেতে এই স্কুলে পড়ালেখা করে?
হ্যাঁ
হ্যাঁ। আপনার ছেলে ইংলিশ মেয়ে বাদ করে কি রকম লাগে আপনাকে?
ভালো লাগে।
ভালো লাগে। এখানে আপনিও কত বর্ষ থেকে কাজ করছেন?
1 মাস হবে।
1 মাস হলো? আপনি কেন কাজ করছো?
ভালো হচ্ছে। বাড়ির কিছু অসুবিধার জন্য কাজ করছি।
অসুবিধা আপনাকে সশক্ত বানাচ্ছে তো? হ্যাঁ, আপনাকে स्ट्रांग बनाচ্ছে तो?
स्ट्रॉन्गमैन है।
आप यहाँ पे कितने साल से काम कर रहे हो?
3 years।
3 years। 3 বর্ষ। আপনার ছেলে এখানে পড়ালেখা করে? মেয়ে কোনটা ক্লাসে আছে? 1। ইংলিশ में बात করতে পারে?
পারে, একটু ভুল হয়ে যায় আবার বলে।
কিরকম ফিল করছেন আপনি?
ভালো, আমি চাইছি আরও যেন পুরোটা ভালোভাবে ম্যামরা স্যার ম্যাম যেমনভাবে বলে ওরকম যেন শিখতে পারে।
আমার ছেলে ক্লাস পড়ে পড়ে 5 বছর ধরে পড়ছে, এখন অনেকটা ইংলিশ বলছে, আমি চাচ্ছি যে আরও বেশি বলুক।
আর আপনার এই কাজ কেন করছেন?
কাজ করছি বাড়িতে কিছু ইনকামের জন্য, হাজব্যান্ডের পাশে থাকার জন্য।
আপনি এই কাজ কত সাল থেকে করছেন?
আমি হচ্ছে ওই 9 মাস হচ্ছে
9 মাস হচ্ছে।
By 2025, you see that a school which was, a big field of, this is a 2 acres land. Today we have children who are studying up to the 10th grade. We have a lab, we have a library, we have a kitchen with a state-of-the-art infrastructure. We have dining space for 500 children, 600 children to sit and have breakfast and meals. Then we have come up, also we have today, which was started by a single person's dream. Today we have 90 people working with us.
Wow.
And of which 61 are teachers. And we have teachers who are
Brilliant.
locals, who are also from outside. In fact, we have teachers who are from Jharkhand.
Here in Hingalganj, empowerment does not echo from podiums. It stands inside a modest classroom where a woman chose action over applause. She did what policy could not. She created access where none existed. As West Bengal approaches elections, education will once again become a campaign promise. But for the children of Sundarbans, education is not a slogan. It is survival. It is mobility. It is dignity. One woman has shown what is possible. The real question now, will the system follow?